you ever get the feeling that when you pick up a pistol and your gut just says, yeah, this thing won't quit on me? That's what this list is all about. Not internet hype, not what's trending on Reddit this week. I'm talking about real 9mm pistols that people actually trust. The ones that don't jam when it counts. The ones that survive thousands of rounds without breaking a sweat. The ones you never second guess. I've seen these in carry situations, truck consoles, range bags, and nightstands across this country, and no matter what you throw at them, they just won't let you down. Now, I'm not going to bore you with chart numbers or paid reviews. What you're about to see is a countdown of proven pistols from deep sleeper hits to full-blown legends. And trust me when I say, you might think you know what's coming, but a few of these will absolutely catch you off guard. So let's jump into it. I was at a range showdown arguing with my buddy over his fancy $1,200 carry piece. He sneered at my Canik Mete MC9, calling it a budget Turkish toy. I smirked, loaded the 12+1 mag, and bet him I'd outshoot him. The MC9's 3.1-inch barrel looked small, but when I pulled the trigger, it roared like it had a vendetta. The flat-faced trigger broke clean, no creep, like it was daring me to miss, and I didn't. At 15 yards, my groups were tighter than his ego. The grip's aggressive texture locked into my hands, and the recoil, barely a whisper. Optics ready, ambidextrous, with a 15+1 option, this thing's a carry king for just $400. My buddy fumed, tried it, and just went silent. By the third mag, he was muttering about selling his premium gun. The MC9 doesn't care about your brand loyalty or your wallet. It's a scrapper built to prove doubters wrong. I've run it through mud, sweat, and 500 rounds of junk ammo without a hiccup. It's not here to look pretty or win likes. It's for the guy who's been burnt by overpriced hype and just wants a pistol that fights harder than it costs. I walked off that range grinning, my buddy trailing behind, still clutching his expensive paperweight. If you're chasing status, keep scrolling. The Mete MC9's only for those who want to shoot, not to poke. I walked into the shop, skeptical, eyeing the IWI Masada like it was just another polymer wannabe. I'd heard of the hype by then. Israeli engineering, battle ready, all that jazz. But I wasn't buying it. But then I held it. The grip hugged my hand like it knew me, and the slide racked with a satisfying heft. At the range, I loaded up, half expecting a Glock clone, but wrong. The 4.1-inch barrel and low bore axis made recoil feel like a suggestion instead of a shove. The trigger, a crisp, no-nonsense break that begged for another pull. I ran 200 rounds. Cheap stuff, premium hollows, didn't matter. It just ate everything, spitting out tight groups at 25 yards. Optics ready, 17+1 rounds, fully ambidextrous controls. It's like IWI built it for anyone who's ever held a gun. But it's not loud about it. No flashy logos, no social media flex. It's a workhorse that doesn't care if you notice. I just kept shooting, losing track of time, and realized I didn't want to stop. This isn't a collector's piece or even a show-off's toy. It's for the shooter who values function over fame, who wants a gun that feels like it's been through wars and came out bored. The Masada's not chasing trends. It's better than it has any right to be for $480. If you're still scrolling for something shinier, go on ahead. This one's not here to impress you. In July 2025, I was at a dive bar near a range in Tennessee when a local cop, Sarah, starts bragging about her CZ75D. I scoffed. An old piece of Czech metal in a world of polymer hotshots? She bets me a beer she'll outshoot my fancy SIG. At the range, her 9mm compact with its 3.75-inch barrel and deconker runs like a machine. The 14+1 rounds hit steel at 20 yards with surgical precision. The alloy frame, barely 27 ounces, feels like it was born in my hand, and the low bore axis makes recoil a non-issue. I'm eating crow by the second mag. No gems, just tight grooves. Sarah grins, told you it's a beast. Gun shops weren't ready. CZ75D started disappearing as shooters on X spread the word, calling it a budget P226 killer. At $600, it may not be the cheapest, but it runs circles around pricier compacts. No optics cut or rail? Doesn't matter when it points like a laser. This isn't for the TikTok crowd chasing neon grips. It's for folks who want a carry gun that's all business, no fluff. Sarah still gloating, and I'm rethinking my carry. The CZ75D didn't just sell in 2025, it made brand snobs look stupid by comparison. Want to know what else flipped the script this year? Keep watching. This list has got more where that came from. Peter trying too hard to be cool. It's got that metal frame swagger in a sea of plastic, and I figured it'd be all show, no go. Wrong-a-rooney. First shot, the trigger snapped like a dry twig. Crisp, clean, no apologies. It's single action 1911 style, but stuffed into a subcompact frame that hides like a ghost under a t-shirt. At 3.1 inches, it may be tiny, but shoots like it's got something to prove. The 10+1 or 12+1 capacity may not be groundbreaking, but it's enough when the gun feels this alive. I ran it fast, expecting it to bite or stumble, but nope, it just kept spinning rounds, dead on, no drama. The slide is tight, the grip's just right, and it's optics ready for those who care. This isn't a range queen you'll post on socials. It's a carry gun for people who don't trust trends. I didn't want to like it. S&W's M&P line always felt safer, more predictable. But CSX, it's got soul. It's not trying to be your buddy's Glock or SIG. It's for the guy who wants steel in his hand and a trigger that talks back. I stashed my usual carry after a day with this thing. If you're still sleeping on it, that's your loss. The HK P30SK doesn't scream for attention, and it doesn't need to. This compact 9mm slips into your hand like it was molded for it, with a grit that feels like a handshake from an old friend. It may not be flashy, but then again, it's not trying to be. The first time I shot it, I expected another overpriced HK flex, but I was wrong. The trigger, whether DASA or LEM, is a revelation. Smooth, deliberate, with a reset you can feel in your bones. The paddle mag release is weird until it's not, then it's faster than anything else. At 3.27 inches, the barrel keeps it concealable, but the P30SK shoots like a full-size gun, soaking up recoil with a low-bore axis that dares you to miss. It's not a range toy for Instagram clout. It's a tool for those who know what they're about. I wouldn't trust it for a 500-round range day. It's a bit too refined for that. But for carry, for that moment when it's just you and the stakes, this is the one. It's not loud or even brash. It's quiet, confident, and built for people who don't need to prove anything. If you want a pistol that feels like an extension of your will, the P30SK will ruin you for anything less, and if you don't get it, fine, it wasn't made for you anyway. The Walther P99 AS isn't just number one on this list, it's number one in my head too. This pistol shouldn't even still be relevant. Came out decades ago. Optics cut, no space gun styling, just Walther being Walther. But then you shoot it, and then you get it. That anti-stress trigger, black magic. First pull is deliberate, second pull is butter, and the reset is so crisp, it feels like the gun is daring you to keep up. It doesn't care about trends, it just works. And the grip? God, the grip. Every new pistol out there is still chasing what Walther nailed with the P99 years ago. It points naturally, it sits in your hand like it grew there. I've shot it next to guns twice the price with twice the hype, and the P99 just shrugs and says, "Cool story, watch this." I carried one for years, thought I'd move on, but then I shot it again in 2025 and felt stupid for ever shelving it. The TS2 doesn't shoot like a pistol, it shoots like a dare. The first time I ran it, I laughed because it felt unfair. Heavy steel frame, razor flat recoil, a trigger that snaps like it owes you money. You don't fight this gun, you just hold on and try not to feel guilty about how easy it makes everything look. The grip, locked in like a vice. The balance feels like it's been tuned by a mad scientist who hated muzzle rise. I'm not exaggerating. My follow-ups were so fast that the guy next to me stopped mid-string and asked if I was running a comp. I wasn't. Just the TS2 doing TS2 things. But here's the kicker. It's not a carry gun, not even close. It's too big, too heavy, too unapologetic, and that's the point. This is a gun for the range, for matches, for the shooters who don't want good enough. I've shot a lot of pistols that make you work. The TS2 works for you. That's why it feels a little dangerous, because once you run it, everything else feels slow. Springfield Hellcat line? Yeah, everybody knows it. Pocket rockets, stacked mags, easy to conceal. But the Hellcat Pro? That's a whole different animal. Now I can already hear the pushback. Bro, it's just another micro compact. Why are you hyping it up like it's brand new? And fair. On paper, it looks like Springfield just stretched the regular Hellcat and slapped Pro on the box, but that's where you're dead wrong. The first time I ran it, I expected it to handle like a compromise. Half concealment gun, half range toy, master of nothing. Instead, it felt like Springfield cracked some hidden code. 15 rounds in a gun that still disappears under a hoodie, but shoots like a duty pistol. Grip angle's right, slide feels tighter, the trigger doesn't just break, it snaps. Then you realize the real magic. It doesn't punish you. It's small, sure, but it doesn't beat your hand to death. You can actually run strings with it fast and keep everything on target. That's when people stop snickering. Then they shoot it, and then they carry it. This isn't Springfield coasting on hype. This is Springfield reminding everyone why the Hellcat was king and proving they can still level it up. Nobody had Arex on their radar for 2025. Not even Arex, probably. But stroll into a gun shop in Missouri today, shelves are bare, and it's not SIG or Glock causing the drought. It's the Arex Delta Gen 2M, a Slovenian 9mm that's been quietly collecting dust until now. A dealer in St. Louis told me straight, "We moved more Deltas than P365s last month." I had to double check the numbers. What flipped the script? Nothing fancy. No new model, no laser etch slides, just the same compact polymer that nobody noticed for years. But in 2025, shooters fed up with $800 hype machines started asking, why drop $1,000 when this runs like a Swiss watch? The Delta Gen 2M isn't chasing clout. It's a 4-inch, 15+1 round workhorse with a trigger so crisp, it feels like it's mocking pricier guns. The grip's aggressive but comfy, and its optics ready for the modern crowd. I saw one at a range eat 1,000 rounds of mixed ammo, grimy steel case included, without a stutter. No oil, no baby ink, just relentless reliability. X-posts lit up with guys trading their Hellcats, stunned by the Delta's smooth recoil and dead-on accuracy. At $500, it's not glamorous, just brutally effective. If you want a flashy flex for your feed, look elsewhere. The Arex Delta Gen 2M is blue-collar grit built to run hard and hit harder. It doesn't just sell, it owned the underdog story. In 2025, the Steyr M9-A2 MF came out of nowhere. I was at a range in Colorado when a guy handed me this Austrian oddity, smirking like he slipped me a secret. Those trapezoid sights looked like a sci-fi experiment, and I figured it would flop, but then I shot it. The 4-inch barrel and low bore axis made recoil vanish, letting me hammer steel at 20 yards like it was point and click. The trigger is sharp, the 17+1 capacity is generous, and the modular grip hugged my hand. I ran 400 rounds of cheap ammo. No jammed, no fuss. Gun shops were stunned. M9A2 sold out faster than Glocks, with X buzzing about its uncanny accuracy. At $550, it's a steal, optics ready and built like a tank. Steyr, the rifle folks, weren't supposed to outgun the polymer giants, but they did. It's not a social media star. It's for shooters who want a 9mm that runs like it's got a grudge. I left that range rethinking my carry. The M9-A2 MF didn't just hit shelves in 2025, it made the market question its loyalties. Want more surprises? Last summer, I was at a range sweating through a shirt when a guy next to me pulled out this no-name pistol. It looked like a budget Glock knockoff. Nothing special. Stoeger STR-9C, he says, smirking like he knew something I didn't. I rolled my eyes, expecting a jam fest. Then he let me try it. First shot, the trigger snapped clean. No mush, no grit. The grip bit into my hand, aggressive, but it locked in like it owned me. At 3.8 inches, it's compact, but the 13+1 capacity and low recoil made it feel like a duty gun. I ran a mag, then another, tearing up the target at 20 yards. No malfunctions, just holes where I ain't. I handed it back, stunned, thinking, what the heck is this thing? It's a Turkish-made Beretta cousin, sub $400, optics ready, with a trigger that punches above its price. I had mocked Stoeger for years. Shotguns, sure, but pistols, no way. Yet here I was, eating my words. It's not sexy and won't win any beauty contests, and you'll hunt for extra mags, but it runs like it's got a chip on its shoulder, daring you to ever doubt it. I didn't post it online, I just kept shooting it. If you're chasing clout, skip it. The STR-9C is for a guy who wants a workhorse that doesn't care about your opinion. Go ahead, roll your eyes at Turkish guns. Most folks did, thinking Caniks were just pawn shop fodder. Cheap, flashy, unreliable. Then, the Mete MC9 hit in 2025, and it was like Canik kicked the door down at a Glock SIG party. This micro 9mm didn't just compete, it humiliated the big names. I saw it at a range in Texas where a guy with a $1,000 P365 XL laughed at my MC9 until he shot it. His smirk vanished right after the first mag. The 3.18-inch barrel and flat-faced trigger delivered rounds like a sniper's kiss. No snappy recoil, just buttery control. With 12+1 or 15+1 capacity, optics-ready slide, and ambient controls, it's built for anyone who carries and not just flex. At $400, it's a steal, not a compromise. Gun shops went from ignoring Canik to begging for stock as word spread fast. Reddit threads lit up with Glock loyalists trading their G43Xs, stunned by the MC9's smooth shooting and rock-solid reliability through 500 rounds of mixed ammo. It's not trying to be your Instagram hero. This is the gun you trust when things get real. Canik didn't just make a pistol, you see, they made a point. You don't need a big name to dominate. If you're still sleeping on the Mete MC9, you're missing the revolution, my friend. So keep chasing that brand hype, but this one's for shooters who know real value when it hits them in the face. Don't believe me? Try it yourself and you'll see. At SHOT Show 2025, I wandered into Laugo Arms' booth, skeptical of the hype around their alien Remus. A $6,200 9mm? Insane. It looked like a sci-fi prop, all sleek lines and gold accents. I figured it was a rich guy's flex and not a shooter's gun. Then I fired it. The 4-inch fixed barrel and gas-delayed blowback system made recoil vanish like poof, gone. The trigger snapped like a glass rod, and the non-reciprocating optic rail kept my dot steady as a rock. I dumped 15 plus 1 rounds, expecting a catch. None came. It ran flawless, tearing holes at 25 yards like it was mocking my Glock. The modular grip fit like it was 3D printed specifically for my hand. This wasn't just a pistol, it was a statement. Gun shops couldn't keep the 500-unit limited edition in stock. Buyers snatched them up despite the price. Forums exploded with guys selling their staccatos to fund one. It's not practical for most. It's a carry gun for those who treat firearms like art. The Remus didn't just sell, it shifted what premium actually means. No influencers, no ads, just raw performance that turns heads. If you're hunting budget deals, this isn't for you. The Remus is for shooters who demand the future now, who'll pay for a gun that feels like cheating. In 2025, it didn't just shock the market, it rewrote the rules. I walked into a gun shop in Ohio mid-2025 expecting the usual Glock and SIG parade. Instead, the guy behind the counter, a grizzled ex-cop named Mike, shoved a Ruger RXM at me. This, he growled, is what's moving. I laughed. Ruger? In a sea of hyped up polymer darlings? But then I held it. The Magpul grip felt like it was built just for my hand and not for some focus group. I hit the range, and the 4-inch barrel spit 9mm rounds with a precision that made my SIG feel lazy. The trigger, snappy, clean, no excuses. Optics ready, 10 plus 1 capacity, and a serialized fire control insert that lets you swap grips like a P320, all for under $500. I ran it against a buddy's $900 custom job, and the RXM didn't flinch. Tight groups, no jams, even with grimy range ammo. Mike wasn't kidding. His shop sold out of RXMs faster than Glocks. Social media barely noticed, but word of mouth lit up. By summer, ranges were buzzing with guys like me shocked that Ruger outdid the big games. It's not flashy, not a flex. It's a blue-collar beast that runs like it's got a grudge. If you're chasing clout with a $1,200 carry, keep scrolling. The RXM's for the shooter who wants a gun that works harder than it brags. It didn't just sell, it rewrote the game. Look, I don't care what the forums say. In the real world, when it's 3 a.m. and something crashes downstairs, you're not reaching for the pistol with the best marketing. You're reaching for the one that's already earned your trust, the one that's never let you down no matter what. Every gun on this list proved itself the hard way. Dirty, dropped, forgotten in a safe, then still ran like hell when it counted. That's the difference. If any of these caught you off guard, or if there's one you trust your life with that I missed, drop it in the comments. I read every single one of those. This has been your boy Steve, so stay sharp and stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.